It's debate night in Cleveland, and there's so much on the line.
That first debate is going to be monumentally important.
We're bound to see plenty of nasty exchanges.
Biden's a stupid person. Biden doesn't have a clue.
He says the most irrational things. I don't know what to say about him.
On this unprecedented night.
They need to be done safely, and who can do it more safely than the Cleveland Clinic?
In the midst of an unprecedented election year.
It's a little scary.
As the pandemic sends mail-in ballot requests skyrocketing.
So we just gotta trust that the Postal Service can handle it and do the job properly.
Leading the president himself to raise concerns about a rigged election.
Get rid of the ballots and you'll have a very peaceful, there won't be a transfer, frankly. There'll be a continuation.
And at the heart of it all, voters here in Ohio once again playing a pivotal role in deciding our nation's future.
This is a special presentation from News 5. Democracy 2020, the Ohio vote.
Well, good evening and welcome to our News 5 special report, Democracy 2020, the Ohio vote. I am Rob Powers. We're live tonight from the Cleveland Clinic, where the first presidential debate of the season is now just 2 hours away.
And I'm Courtney Gooseman. The debate is happening at Case Western Reserve's Health Education Campus at the clinic. And make no mistake, this debate and upcoming election will be unlike any other.
It sure won't. For a lot of us, 2020 has felt like the longest year of our lives. And as News 5 anchor Frank Wiley shows us, the road to this night has been full of historic twists and turns.
2020 started with what we thought would be the biggest event of the first half of the year, a presidential impeachment.
Donald John Trump, President of the United States, is not guilty as charged.
But COVID-19 quickly grabbed the headlines.
Breaking news now at 5. Just a few hours ago, top health officials around the world declaring the coronavirus a global health emergency.
First reported in Asia before hitting our shores.
Fears this morning that the coronavirus may be spreading in the U.S. The new case is being reported now along the West Coast.
And making its way to Ohio.
Decisions that we make as individuals will really determine how many lives are going to be lost in Ohio.
Shutting down the state in March.
These are long days ahead. They are unusual times.
Schools closed, mass gatherings banned, and the sports world sent to a screeching halt.
For the first time since 1938, there will be no NCAA tournament.
As April approached, the devastating impact on our nation's and Ohio's economies became clear.
More than 40 million Americans are out of work during this pandemic.
While heroes emerged.
Just by walking in that building, they're putting their lives at risk every day.
And COVID-19 continued to spread.
The number of confirmed coronavirus cases has now topped 1 million.
While centuries of racial tension came to a head.
Newly released video, it shows a February shooting in which a white father and son killed an unarmed black man his family says was simply out for a jog.
Please, I can't breathe.
The hurt, the anger, the frustration over George Floyd's death is building.
Spilling into streets around the country and here in Cleveland.
It is no stretch tonight to say Cleveland is a city on edge.
As the nation struggled to cope with the fallout from the economic slowdown.
Extended unemployment benefits for millions of Americans expired over the weekend.
But the political season rolled on.
The first presidential debate of 2020 has been rescheduled, and it will be happening right here in Cleveland.
Joe Biden has named California Senator Kamala Harris as his running mate.
And COVID-19 continued to claim businesses. The iconic IX Center becomes the latest victim of the coronavirus pandemic. And lives.
And we begin with breaking news about the coronavirus. The death toll in the United States has hit 200,000 people.
All of this laying the groundwork for tonight's showdown. Frank Wiley, News 5.
Now, the stakes of a presidential debate, they would be high in any election season, but some are saying tonight's debate is one of the most critical in recent memory. John Kosick explains what is on the line.
2020 is a year that has had in it elements of 1974 with impeachment, 1918 with the pandemic, 68 with civil rights, 1928 with the economic collapse, and some will argue with this debate, 1980.
And that first debate is going to be monumentally important. I'd say there has not been a more important single presidential debate since the Reagan-Carter debate in 1980.
1980.
Hey, what's the great debate tonight?
The last time Cleveland hosted a presidential debate with President Jimmy Carter and challenger Ronald Reagan playing out on stage at Cleveland's Public Hall.
And the President and the First Lady are staying at the Bond Court Hotel just feet from where we are right now.
It would be a debate that even still 4 decades later is remembered for several lines.
There you go again.
Former Congresswoman Mary Rose Ocar greeted First Lady Rosalind Carter at the airport that day. She remembers the debate being big for Cleveland, but not so much for President Carter.
That's when he lost the election. Reagan was terrific. The one line they gave him, he really memorized. Are you better off
than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for you to go and buy things in the stores than it was 4 years ago?
And I was sitting there, I thought, oh no, that's it, man.
It was the start of something that future candidates and future debates will become very much aware of, and that is not just how you do in those 90 minutes, it's how well you deliver the lines that will be replayed after them.
Debates are funny things, you know, a lot of it has to do with expectations going into it and, you know, what the media ends up picking up on. Most people don't watch the debate, but everybody sees the coverage of it.
That's true even more so in this age of social media, where quips and clips are quickly shared. But Larry Sabato with the University of Virginia Center for Politics asks, who is doing the sharing? Not the undecideds, because there are few in those camps. That's why he says,
of late, debates don't matter very much because we, the people, are so polarized. We just tune in to cheer for our side. That's what we do. Almost nobody changes their mind.
Well, in the end, what makes this debate in Cleveland carry the weight of the one here 40 years ago is that one was the only one head-to-head that year between Reagan and Carter, and given the rate of early voting this year, which starts in Ohio next week, this debate may be the only one people see before casting their vote. John Kasich, News 5.
All right, thanks so much, John. And once we move from debate night to election night, the campaigns closely watch the vote count. 5 on Your Side investigator Joe Pakanakis goes in depth to show us how states are preparing for the record number of absentee ballots and the issues they may cause.
Well, the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections here has already received 280,000 applications for absentee ballots. That's double compared to what they received at this same time back in 2016.
I'm not confident that we're going to actually have a winner after the night concludes.
University of Akron political science professor David Cohen says the massive increase in mail-in ballots sets up many unknowns, with Cuyahoga County expecting up to 350,000 of them, more than 50% of the total vote. Lake County says mail-in ballots could represent a record 60% of the vote.
Some states are not well equipped to do it.
Problems in Pennsylvania, where 100,000 mail-in ballots could be rejected due to privacy envelope issues. Meanwhile, Florida is getting a head start, already sending out more than 4.7 million ballots, and Detroit is planning to shut down much of its government for 2 days to help with the absentee counting process.
You want to maximize the mailing window.
The Cuyahoga County Board of Elections now running election tests, adding 50 additional temporary staff members to count ballots and 2 more ballot scanners.
A scanner only goes so fast, so you can't make it go any faster. So the time it takes is the time it takes.
Lake and Cuyahoga counties both urging voters to mail in ballot applications as soon as possible. Lake County setting up online ballot application tracking.
It will say when we sent it out. It'll say when that application was arrived back. Then you can track your ballot when we sent out the ballot.
But Professor Cohen is concerned if an absentee ballot backlog causes a delay in the declaration of a presidential winner to drag on more than 1 day after Election Day.
Their supporters are going to be upset and angry, and I worry that could, in fact, translate into civil unrest throughout the country.
And all Ohio counties will start mailing out absentee ballots on October 6th. You can mail them back in, bring them here to the Board of Elections drop box, or walk them into the board office. I'm 5 on Your Side investigator Joe Paganakis.
We have much more ahead tonight in our News 5 special report, Democracy 2020, the Ohio vote.
I think what I want to hear from him is how we're going to move forward as a country.
Ohio voters sound off on what issues matter to them and what they want to hear on the debate stage. And members of one coveted demographic reveal what it will take to win their vote.
Women absolutely need to get out there and vote and make their voices known.
I truly believe that health is the most important thing.
I'm on a fixed income, so healthcare is a primary thing.
That they're working on getting vaccinations out to the American people, and just they're going to do something to stop all this death.
Some Northeast Ohio voters making it very clear which issues are most important to them as we count down to election night.
And in the midst of this global pandemic, it is no surprise really, healthcare was top of mind for many voters we spoke with. So here's where the candidates stand on battling coronavirus. President Trump does not support a national mask mandate. Joe Biden does. They both support federal action to expand COVID-19 testing, also fast-tracking development of a safe and effective vaccine and reopening schools during the pandemic.
Now, it's only been a few days since a new poll found the candidates are in a dead heat among potential Ohio voters. The Great Lakes poll from Baldwin Wallace University shows just 0.6 of a point between the two.
We love to play up the rivalry, but Ohio and Michigan actually have a lot in common.
A lot of manufacturing and a lot of automotive.
And both states will be key in choosing the next president.
We like Joe because we know Joe.
The American worker who deserves 4 more years of a Trump presidency.
Next, we hear from union auto workers and detail how each candidate plans to help their industry survive.
I need to hear what their issues are and what their answers are to the way the world is going.
The economy is probably the most important issue to me. I want to hear fresh ideas. I want to hear their plans.
Jobs, jobs, and oh yeah, jobs. It's what matters most to so many right here in Northeast Ohio as they consider who to vote for this November.
And one industry in particular is expected to be a big focus tonight, and that's the automotive industry. Joe St. George shows us how each candidate would work to get more cars built right here in the United States.
Ohio and Michigan, 2 states with an intense rivalry. But if you visit, you can't help but think how much they're the same.
The atmosphere is great, the beer is great.
Here at Inside the Five Brewery near the state line, patrons from both states love the beer, respect hard work.
A lot of manufacturing and a lot of automotive.
And know Michigan and Ohio, with a combined 34 electoral college votes, will help decide this election.
I like an upfront person that's going to tell me the truth.
One big issue on the minds of Ohio voters and Michigan voters is jobs. And it's hard to talk about jobs around here without talking about the auto industry.
I am the president of UAW Local 14.
Tony Toddy represents around 6,000 auto workers in a union that's backing Joe Biden.
We like Joe because we know Joe.
Toddy believes Biden would listen to unions more, and he says the president's new trade deal, the USMCA, United States-Mexico-Canada agreement, still allows too many companies to build cars in Mexico or Canada tax-free.
It's just NAFTA 2.0. You know, where are the jobs?
But Terry Bowman,
I've worked for Ford Motor Company for 24 years.
who is co-chair of the Michigan Republican Party, says hold on a minute. While union leadership may be backing Biden, many workers on the assembly line are not, believing the new trade deal has more incentives for cars to be built here.
The American worker who deserves 4 more years of a Trump presidency.
So how do the candidates want to help the auto industry? Well, Biden wants to shift 300,000 government cars from gas to electric, believing government investments would generate 1 million new jobs. President Trump says his new USMCA trade deal will create 100,000 new jobs, and that his rollback of environmental regulations will result in cheaper cars. Back at the brewery,
I'm for Biden.
while this bar may be divided,
I want to see President Trump destroy Joe Biden in the debate.
all of them telling us they'll be watching the first debate and hoping the candidates remember the auto worker.
They are the people that run America.
At the Ohio-Michigan border, I'm Joe St. George, News 5.
So it's a coveted demographic every presidential hopeful tries to win over. We're talking about women. Caroline Sweeney went into suburbs to find out what moms are thinking as we approach Decision Day.
These 2 women both know who they're voting for in November.
I will be voting for Biden in November.
I'm going to vote for President Trump again.
Melissa Antonelli and Tasha Slache are suburban moms.
Women absolutely need to get out there and vote and make their voices known.
Targets for both President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden.
The suburban women vote particularly has changed because of just the generations have changed. They don't necessarily just listen to what their significant others are telling them about politics. They want to read up on their own and form their own opinions.
Antonelli
and,
says her neighborhood in North Royalton is still fairly conservative, but getting younger.
So we can't take
Slashay
it for
is a
granted that
former
we have a
Democrat voter who cast her ballot for Trump in 2016.
Voted for Clinton the first time.
Even though both women are firmly in their camps for 2020, they're looking to the debate for answers. From Biden, Antonelli wants direction.
I think what I want to hear from him is how we're going to move forward as a country.
From Trump, Slashay wants details.
What has President Trump done in the 3.5 years? But what are you going to do for me now? What's next? And also, I want to understand specifics.
Both say one debate isn't long enough to get all their answers, but with COVID-19 taking so much of the focus this election season, both women say they're ready to hear more from the candidates. Caroline Sweeney, News 5.
Well, we are sure mail-in voting is primed to be a major issue on the debate stage tonight. Ohio now on pace to surpass 2 million absentee ballot requests. Mike Brookbank caught up with some voters to hear their concerns.
Since registering at 18,
every vote counts.
Mercedes Davis has exercised her right to cast a ballot in person at the polls. However, in this election, because of the coronavirus,
it's a little scary.
Davis will fill out her ballot at home.
It's one way that I can make sure I know who I'm voting for. I can take my time and send it in.
Despite growing concerns about the added capacity to the system, Davis tells me she has faith in the Postal Service.
As a small business owner, I use the Postal Service a lot, so I'm hoping that they deliver this just like they deliver any other thing.
My mother worked for the Postal Service for over 30 years.
Even with that personal connection, Jordan Morales not completely confident in the mail.
There's human error in everything, right?
Morales plans on showing up to the polls November 3rd to guarantee his ballot gets counted.
I don't think there's anything that can substitute the physical ballot being placed in there physically by you, by hand.
For Morales, it's also about the emotion that comes with Election Day.
That's a gratifying feeling, knowing that your vote counts when you put that ballot in.
You gotta trust that the Postal Service can handle it and do the job properly.
Stephen Catadall planning to cast his ballot at the polls just like he did before the pandemic.
There's risks in everyday life, just like walking down the street.
Regardless which option they choose, Catadall hopes every American who can exercises their right.
This vote to decide pretty much the direction the U.S. is going for the next 4 years. So it's important, especially for younger people, to go out, everyone to go out, and let your voice be heard.
Reporting in Cleveland, Mike Brookbank, News 5.
It's one of the most divisive elections in our nation's history.
Definitely Donald Trump.
I believe in Joe Biden.
But that doesn't mean we have to be divided ourselves.
Him and his wife are both very hard workers. We're always for teasing each other.
Next, meet two neighbors on opposite sides of the political divide who still know how to come together.
My concern is who's going to heal the nation and how are they going to do it to bring us together.
I think the most important thing is getting a president that has a heart and soul.
Everything in our country is at stake with this election.
Well, for some Americans, nothing less than the soul of our nation is on the line this November. And in some cases, it's pitting neighbor against neighbor.
It sure is, but in one eastern suburb, two men who are divided politically are still united in friendship. Photojournalist Dave Columbine shows us how they put their differences aside.
My name is Joe Riddle. Definitely Donald Trump. He represents what I want. He wants to make America better.
Daria Duvniak. I believe in Joe Biden, a candidate that believes that climate change is a big threat to us.
Just the direction that the country's been going, finally, going in the right direction. Everything's going well. I'm a contractor. I haven't been this busy in I can't remember how many years.
My next door neighbor put his sign out. I had to take a stand against that.
This is a sign. I just figured it was funny because of his being funny, that people will get a kick out of it, you know.
I love the diversity. I like the difference of opinions.
He's not worried about, political ramifications. He just wants to do the job and make America better.
That's a lie. Every time he speaks at a rally, all he's doing is causing and instilling fear.
Says it how it is. He doesn't take no BS from anybody.
I don't believe Trump is the right candidate. Well, right now, we're actually
Dario's a great guy.
trying to brace the steps.
He's just really laid back.
Put some 2x4s to brace it a little more.
Even keeled.
Half-inch.
They've done nothing but improve the house since they've moved in. Him and his wife are both very hard workers. You know, his wife's a frontline worker.
It's nice that we can talk about the politics that are so divisive, but still be friends at the end of it.
Hey, Joe. He's a great guy. Oh, my God. Get that shirt out of here.
We do stuff together all the time. How much I love this guy.
So we're good friends.
You know, we just enjoy.
That's fake. That's fake.
Being around each other and harassing each other.
I can use the toilet paper right here. This is terrible.
Well, there you go.
We converse on a daily basis.
It's my gift to you. And joking, and you know, we're always freaking teasing each other, and we're always messing around.
We try to avoid politics as much as possible just because we don't agree.
And we yell and we argue and all, you know.
It always ends up in an argument. He tries to make a joke in support of Trump, but I always have to tell him, Joe, remember, this is a political talking point.
Everybody should help each other, not be angry.
Not divide each other.
Yeah, not be angry, not be divided.
Right. Including the president.
Yeah, it makes, right, and Congress and everybody. Okay, we gotta go. And we walk away.
And then we come back and we have a beer together and just act like nothing happened. Go Biden.
Go Trump.
We do need change. It's
I
bad.
think we need someone, not just the president.
Here we go again, another political talk. We're getting into it.
Yeah. But it seems like it's just gotten worse.
Basically just knowing when to stop talking about it.
I just got this from the Republican Party.
Joe's entitled to his sign. I'm entitled to my sign. I'll never judge him. He's always gonna be my friend.
You know, it's not about who you're voting for. It's about who we are. We're Americans.
And we thank you for joining us for this News 5 special report.
Don't forget the debate starts right here at 9, and we'll see you back here tonight at 11. Have a good night.